welcome to Virtual Sewing Room in conversation with. And today I'm joined by.
Vicky, hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Vicky. I'm what Vicky made on social media, if you use social media. And I've been sewing a long time. I also like lots of other crafts. I was on the sewing bee in 2023. I always have to recall the year because we film it the year. We
Um,
filmed the year prior to it being on TV. So gosh, all the years just blur into one. But I was the semi-finalist of that year. And yeah, that's I have two kids, three
three
cats,
cat.
husband, and yeah.
And you've got a range of fabric out. Actually, you've got, is it three collections you've had
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I started doing fabric design at the start of last year. So I dabble with a bit of that, do a bit of illustration, and then I have it printed onto fabrics. This is one of them that I did from last year. And I make some sewing tools now, and I sort of dabble in selling that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about your fabric collection. I was going to ask how you got into doing the design. Do you have a design background or you just really wanted?
No, I think people think someone did comment on my design background, and I did have to say, no, I don't have a design background. But I'm really complimented that you thought I did. I mean, I did art at school and really loved drawing, and then I went to uni and like stopped doing anything creative. I did law at uni, really missed creating, which is why I got into sewing. Because I'll literally try anything. Like I'm very open to trying everything. Um, and that's when I got into sewing. And then I suppose after I did the B, I was sort of like wanting to find more fabrics that I really, really loved and I felt were really exciting. And then I started drawing pictures of stuff that I was going to make. And then that's how why I thought, "Do you know what, I'm just going to draw some fabric designs and get them printed and then, give it a go."
And did you
So I
have
kind
some?
of did it for me, really, but hope that other people would like them too.
I was going to ask, like, did you design some fabric that you just had for yourself at home and then decided to release it to the world, or did you just go straight to,
Um,
oh, I won't get 1 meter printed. I'll just go for, 100 and sell it.
so I did the designs. I get really intense when I've got an idea, like it's a proper intense, this is my whole personality now, for the foreseeable future. So I did these drawings and I got samples printed, and then I saw other people were designing fabrics and I thought, "Do you know what? I'm just gonna give it a go. Like now's as good a time as any, isn't it?" Like, I suppose I'd like done the B and I thought, well, now's as good a time as any to give it a go, and I just thought I'd give it a go. And I did a Kickstarter for my first
Oh gosh.
collection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, so I really didn't think it was going to be a success. Um, but I did the Kickstarter basically because if people didn't want to buy it, then I just wouldn't do it. And then that would be that. And I just have the samples for myself. And then people bought it. And then, so I did two more since then. And I just bit the bullet and gave it a go because you can't really do loads of Kickstarters.
Mm.
It, yeah, it's a lot of time, and like you have to give them like a big chunk of the money as well for hosting it and stuff. So it's sort of, I don't know, you just have to take the gamble sometimes, don't you? So I took the gamble with the other two.
And it's paid off. Uh,
Yeah, it's gone well,
it's
which
always
is nice.
nice, like see, like I went to the Stitch Festival recently, and like you spot the fabrics, whether it's your collection or others, and you're like, oh, that's that, and like yeah,
Yeah,
really
I
mad.
think there's a few people that have brought out fabric designs, haven't there? Which is really nice to see that. Um, I think production's becoming more. I mean, I'm not going to say it's wholly accessible. It's not. You need to be able to have the time and the an element of resources and money and stuff. Obviously, it's not like it's not something everyone can do, but I think it's more accessible than it was. like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At least you can find people to print the fabric now.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
And have you got any more designs coming up? Or
No, not at the minute. So I did I do sort of sometimes get a bit carried away. And I have to try and rein myself in a bit sometimes. So it's not been long since I did one. And they take like a lot of months to get ready. So the designs that I just released, I actually drew like mid last year.
Mm.
And then I released them like, I don't know, a month ago. So I've only just released one last month and I need to probably focus on that before doing another one.
I was going to ask about what's the process that you go through from an idea to
Um,
selling.
So I suppose in a nutshell, get the idea, spend a lot of time drawing it. It's a lot of tweaking till I feel happy with what I've got. Like, sometimes the colors don't always work. I always find background colors for designs really tricky. Because sometimes you put a background in and it just completely throws the design off. And then the background color is like a big color, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you don't get the right one or one that you think people are gonna like, then it can just throw the whole design off. And I have a lot of designs that just don't work. In my head, I think they're great. And then they just don't, like, I don't know, I just don't feel right about them. So I spend a lot of time drawing. Then once I've drawn it, I print it out in different scales to see what sort of scale I'm going to want it on. Then I send it off for samples. That takes about 2 months to come back. So it's quite long because they have to get all the colors and color codes and stuff right. And then I get the samples back, and then I like see how I feel about them for a bit, and then I decide if I'm going to go ahead with it. And then if I'm going to go ahead with it, I order the main fabrics and I sew them up and take photos, try and market them, and then launch it basically.
And knowing your character so far, um, do you really have to be patient with yourself in that thinking over those kind of
Yeah.
communication periods? If you've got to be really patient with yourself, so I imagine you see them and you're like, next step, let's go. But
Yeah, like you do have to sit with them for a bit because it's a lot of money.
mm,
Like it's so much money and you just don't know if other people are gonna like it. And sometimes I find I get really hyped about it in the drawing phase. And then sometimes by the time I've sewn the fabric and I've photographed it, then I get really doubt. Like I get real doubt about it. But I think that's because I've spent so long looking at it. Do you
yeah,
know, I've probably been looking at it for months because I usually I'll put it on my computer backdrop so that I have to look at it all the time because then I decide, am I going to like it in 3 months' time or do I just like it right this second? Do you know, so I try and sit with it for quite a long time before making a decision, which I can be a bit impulsive and sometimes that's great and sometimes it's not helpful.
that's what happens when you're passionate about a project like that. You just,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you just don't know what other people are gonna like. Like, you really don't know. Like, a lot of my friends like neutrals. So, like, you try and gauge it off other people, don't you? To
mm,
see, like, to get other people's opinions. But that's really hard because I wouldn't say me and my friends like the same stuff.
yeah,
Like I appreciate what they like and they appreciate what I like, but and also there's a difference, isn't there, between someone liking a design and someone wanting to buy it and someone wanting to wear it
yeah.
are like can be really different things.
Mm.
So you just don't know and sometimes I really love something and other people just don't love it as much as I did. Like some of the stuff that's been really popular, like, is unexpected for me.
Oh,
So
any particular one that surprised you?
I think my flowers from the first collection,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like I sold so it was so pop. I mean, I don't know, I'm only gauging it off my own like perceptions, but that was so popular. And I was surprised because I thought it was a bit of a different take on florals, and I'm not much of a like typical florals person. So I tried to do sort of my own spin on it, I suppose. But I didn't know if that was going to make it unpopular.
Mm.
Like I didn't know if it would be popular because it was florals and people like seem to like florals, or if it would be unpopular because it was my spin on florals. Do you know? So I suppose that one was a surprise.
Yeah. I think that's the one that who I saw someone wearing it on one of our sessions recently as well.
So people still message me about it, like, and it was over a year ago now, and people still, someone messaged me on the, like, on my website the other day to ask if it was coming back in stock, and it's not. And it was over a year ago, so,
Uh,
but it was nice people still like it.
yeah. Um, I want to move on to so you've mentioned you were at uni. Was it uni you were studying law? Um,
Oh, yeah.
did you what did you want to be when you grew up? Was that always what you wanted to do or
So really bizarre interests for me is that I loved art. I loved maths, and I was really interested in like investigation, like crime investigation.
yeah, yeah. You're ticking
So,
all the boxes today. It's like me. Like, yeah, art,
so
math. Yeah.
yeah, so I was really interested in the police actually. Like I just found investigation really interesting. And so I was at college doing law and public services and psychology. And that was the first time I'd not done anything creative. And then I was coming to the end of college and basically was not going to go to university. And then last minute, literally a week before the applications, put mine in for law, and then went to uni. Because I was in a toss between doing something creative or law, and I just thought that law would give me more options. I've got like a really black and white logical brain at times, which is really unsurprising. People find surprising because I think they see me as a really creative person, which I am, obviously, but I'm also like super black and white logical at times. So for me, I just decided to do law because I thought it would give me the most career prospects. Didn't know what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's why I went, basically. I didn't like it at all. I hated it, but I'm also really stubborn, so I finished. So there we go.
You did it. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd do it again. I didn't enjoy it at all. I wish I'd done something creative, but there we go.
I did something creative and I feel like I didn't make use of that. But I did graphic design, but like I never worked in that area at all. If I
Yeah.
I'd do it completely different, but it'd probably still be I'd do an apprenticeship and it'd probably be upholstery. Like that's what I think I'd go back and do. Um,
Yeah, I wish I'd done something creative because I haven't used my degree anyway. Do you know? So I went out of logic. It was just before they like tripled the uni fees. It was the last year that this is why I went.
yeah, yeah.
Because I found out they were tripling the fees. So I thought if I ever want to do it in the future, I definitely won't. So that's what I did, basically. And I've never used it, but there we go. Such is life.
It's still a life experience and you gain lots of experience. So during the sewing bee, you created a vast array of different outfits. Are there any projects now that you find too intimidating to try, or do you feel like you can give anything a go?
Um, oh, I would say that the bee made me feel more like I was more capable than I thought. Like there was a lot of when I found out I was going to be on the show, I watched previous episodes with my husband. I mean, I stopped in the end because it was just like, oh, off-putting. And we'd watch the episode and he'd be like, "Can you do that?" I'd be like, "No." "Can you do that?" "No." "Can you do that?" "No." About lots of things. And then when you go on it, you're like, right, this is what you're making. And you're just like, okay, that's what I'm making. I'm going to have to make it. And what I'm gonna have to do and just get on with it. And then some things I enjoyed, which I never thought I would have enjoyed. Um, and like there was a lot of stuff that if you'd asked me if I could make, I would have said no. And then, but then obviously I did make it and it was okay. Some things not okay, but some things are
For the
definitely
most
more than
part, okay.
okay. Yeah. And like some things I really hated making, but I was capable of doing it. So I kind of feel like when I came out of it, I felt more like I could be more imaginative and be more creative, and be more playful with my sewing. But also there's lots of stuff that I would just be like, nah, I don't want to make that. Like, oh, I've done it once, I'd never do it again. Like, there's lots of stuff that I very much don't think would bring me joy to make, would be too much of a faff, and I just don't want to, basically. So I don't know. It's kind of, I think it's made me more imaginative and more creative, but and I know that I'm capable of doing things, but there's lots of things that probably I'm capable of doing, but I'd never want to do. And I know I don't want to do it, and that's fine.
Yes. And there is an acceptance in that. I see lots of people who are doing bag making
Yeah.
at the moment, and that's not quite for me. I've done some pouches, I do little
Yeah.
things that are useful, but I, yeah,
Yeah. Like, so one of the first things I ever made was a wedding dress.
of course, that's
Um,
the thing.
because
Yeah.
I went in clearly optimistic. And if you asked me to make a wedding dress now, my answer would be no, thank you. It is not what
Polite.
I want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. You've got to do what brings you joy. Like,
Yeah. Like I don't know, I never made a bias cut dress on the show. But do if I ever think that something's a bias cut dress, then immediately, no, I don't want to do it.
yeah,
The
yeah,
only thing I'm ever going to cut on the bias is bias binding.
I think me too. I think that's where I'm at. It's lovely seeing all the other versions and things. It's great, but
Yeah, I
no.
think that's great for you. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, or maybe hated every second of it, but you look great.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And so you mentioned earlier that you've tried lots of different creative things other than sewing. Any random ones you can tell us about?
I went through a phase of lamp making,
Nice.
really random. I used to get loads of teacups from charity shops and like glass bottles and stuff like that, and drill holes in them and then wire them up to be lamps. Um, I did that for quite a long time. And I used to really enjoy making things out of Fimo clay. And I made loads and loads of like little, from jars, I turned them into like little fairy houses for candles.
Mhm.
Really, I had loads of them, so many. And I really struggled to part with them. And actually, I threw the last one in the bin yesterday. I know it's sad to let go of stuff, but you just can't keep holding on to things. I've had them 10 years.
Mm,
So sometimes you gotta let it go, right?
yeah, yeah. We're moving house soon, and there's going to be a lot of creative stuff, not fabric, that I'm going to have to let go of.
Yeah.
Things I've.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
Mm,
Like I really enjoy knitting. I mean, that is my other love. And I do a lot of knitting and I bought all the stuff to dye my own wool, which I'll never get rid of because I do enjoy doing it. I just don't do it very often. But I did go full on intense into that phase of craft, and did a lot of it for a long period of time.
Are you someone like me who just hoards a lot of different crafty bits? So I've got stuff for lino printing, printmaking in general. Um, I've got knitting stuff. Obviously, I've got all the sewing gear. I've just got lots of bits, paints. I've just got my own little kind of creative shop here, really.
Yeah, I find it really, especially I've got two kids and they really enjoy craft. And then a lot of stuff I think, well, they could use it. So I keep hold of it, even not just for me, but for them. But since doing the fabrics, I have been having more of a clear out because it just takes up the fabrics and the product stuff takes up a lot of room. Because I do resin as well, resin and jesmonite as well. That's a recent thing. So that takes up, like, I just have a lot of stuff. So I have recently been letting go of more things.
Mm.
Sad times, but I just don't have space for it all. And I get really overwhelmed. So, yeah.
Um,
I
mm,
mean, the overwhelm isn't surprising. When I hear myself talk, I know exactly why I'm overwhelmed.
yeah, no, now I've said it out loud. That makes sense. Well, kind of on that topic of mental health, this is going out during Mental Health Awareness Week. During the sewing bee, that feels like quite a tense time. How did you look after your mental health during those weeks? Because you were on it for so long.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I really am a strong, probably not everyone agrees with this, but I am a really strong believer that literally anyone can struggle with their mental health. I think that there's a lot of, there is load, I don't think there's loads of stigma around mental health, isn't there? Unfortunately, not as bad as it used to be, but
Mm.
there is still a lot of stigma. And I do really genuinely believe that, like, literally anyone could have a breakdown. You don't have to be diagnosed with a condition to be like mentally vulnerable, do you? You don't have to have had a bad experience to be mentally vulnerable. So I think it's a really important topic and probably one that way more people than you realize struggle with. The sewing bee is incredibly tense, and I do think that it is a big mental commitment, but also you are like you're out of your comfort zone, you're away from home, it's very overwhelming.
Mm.
And I would say probably for me anyway, I felt it more when I got back than while I was probably away. I'm quite good at when I'm better when I'm in a situation than before and after it. Um basically, which I don't know, has its pros and cons, doesn't it? But I'm quite good at like not good, that's the wrong word. I find like build up to stuff very overwhelming, and I find like post situations very overwhelming. And then while I'm in it, I think the filming, like I am a police dispatcher, so I am very used to typing, talking, listening, all at the same time in an intense environment, for my job. So I suppose I was kind of at an advantage in a way, I think, because I could put like work Vicky on, if that makes sense. Like I could go into work Vicky, and work Vicky is very used to dealing with a lot of things going on at once. And I feel like I could kind of switch that brain on. So I was probably one of the calmer people during. I'm not going to say I didn't have my moments because you 100% do, but I probably found it more okay. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but I felt like I was more okay with it because, like, I could just turn work Vicky on and get on with the task in hand and like be okay with that. I'm probably worse with social stuff than I am. Like, I find the social stuff really overwhelming more than like the task and the filming, if that makes sense. Um, and then you reflect on it afterwards, don't you? I suppose it's weird though, because you're out of your comfort zone for a really long period of time, and then you do it and you come back to normal, and it's like it never happened because no one knows and you can't talk about it. And then I would say during the filming is hard for your well-being because a lot of people are commenting on you. And they don't necessarily mean it in a horrible way, but that doesn't mean that you don't take it in a horrible way, if
Mm.
that makes sense. Like, and people get incredibly heated about something that really is a TV show. And it's lovely that people are enthusiastic, but with enthusiasm and passion can come not nice things. Um, so I suppose while I was away, I dealt with it by making sure that I had time alone. Like we didn't, if we were ever not filming, I would try and make sure that I had time on my own and didn't fill that time with being around people because I know that's important for me to be alone, basically. As much as I loved all the other sewers and I loved being with them, it's really important to like try and have some boundaries for what you need, isn't it? And then during the filming, so I didn't look at any reviews of the show. I didn't go on I don't really use Facebook, but I didn't go in the Facebook groups or use them. I didn't use Twitter, which I don't really use anyway, but you do get tempted to look at what is said. And really the only place I read stuff about the show was on my own Instagram feed. Because I found that really people that message you, for me personally, the people that messaged me were people that had found me because they wanted to say something nice, not because they wanted other people that don't have that experience. But that was like, I was fortunate that that was my experience, that the people that messaged me and commented on things were people that wanted to say something uh, nice or supportive, or were interested in your style or something, rather than disliking you, basically. So I suppose during the airing, I just, and like on days that the episode came out, I don't run anymore, but I started going for runs in the morning or just a walk to get some fresh air and stuff, so that I didn't spend all day thinking, oh, what's going to be on the episode tonight? Because we see it at the same time as everyone else. So it's just as much as a surprise to us as it is everyone else, and like you don't know what's going to come out of it. And sometimes a moment in it, because I did have a few moments that I was really not looking forward to watching back, because I just didn't feel comfortable, or I didn't enjoy them, or I was way more critical of myself than I needed to be, because I mean lots of people are, aren't they? And then I'd watch it back and I'd be like, oh, it didn't even make the edit, or oh, it wasn't even as bad as I remembered, or oh, people aren't even interested in that part of the do you know? So yeah, I tried to just give myself space and not think about it. And I only watched the episode once. I'm a really, really talented overthinker.
I've got the
Um,
certificate too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I only let myself watch episodes once,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm if I watch it again, it's only to criticize myself. So
Mm.
I'll let myself have it once, and then that's it. So yeah,
No, it sounds like you had quite a good, you knew yourself to look after yourself, especially that running
yeah,
days of airing. Sounds like you've got little things in place that you can fall back on.
yeah. I mean, I'm a permanent work in progress. I like. I am a permanent work in progress, but I've come a long way over the last few years. So you just baby steps, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all little things. I always say it's taking
Yeah,
minutes at a time. It's not days, it's moments. Let's get through this
yeah.
bit and then the next.
Yeah,
Just
if you can have a good moment, then that's okay, isn't it? But oh,
yeah.
I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard viewing yourself. And I don't think I really thought about it during filming. So then when the airing comes, it's like a whole new thing to be thinking about, really, whole new set of emotions. Um,
And during
yeah,
filming, no one else knows that you're doing it. And then suddenly there's the ramp up, you've been announced, you're on it. And then suddenly people
yeah.
are aware of you. And then,
Yeah, and like people do get super passionate about it.
Mhm.
And it can just be overwhelming sometimes. And I suppose like I don't know, it's everyone's experience is different. But whatever the experience, I believe everyone probably finds it intense.
Yes. Nice.
And like I sometimes people, and I suppose the thing that I probably never get overly used to is like uh people make assumptions about you after doing it, which is fine. Like I obviously put myself out there by going on it. And being on social media, like that's me putting myself out there, isn't it? But sometimes those assumptions can be a challenge because they aren't how you feel, or they aren't who you are. And people like someone said to me once, oh, I could never do something like that, I'm not that sort of person. And I was like, oh right, what sort of person do you think you need to be? And they didn't know me, like they were just chatting to me. I said, oh, what sort of person do you think you need to be then? And they said, well, you have to be extroverted to do something like that. And I was like, oh, am I an extrovert? And she went, "Hmm, actually, now I've spoken to you, I was like, yeah, like don't assume people's like personalities, because although I do put myself out there, like it's hard and I don't find it easy. So I'm not extroverted. I know that I people's reasonings for doing things is different, isn't it? And you don't necessarily know the reason.
Yeah, so true. I wanted to move along because I realised we're chatting away and we will be here all day. One question I wanted to ask as well is so kind of I think generally the sewing community, especially on Instagram, where I think a lot of us reside, is a very positive place. And Mental Health Week is all about community. What is community to you? And kind of, yeah, what does it mean to you? And what communities are you part of that you love being part of?
I think to me, community is about respecting each other, appreciating each other, and supporting each other. And I suppose like having a mutual acceptance is really important for me. Like you don't have to um like especially with sewing and creating, like I think sometimes people think that you can only appreciate people that are similar to you, but I don't think that's the case. Like a lot of the stuff that I really love about sewing is appreciating people that are different to me,
Mm.
and have different stories to me and like different things to me and have different inspiration and different styles. Like I think that's really warming. And I think that's a really nice thing to get to be part of, to be inspired by other people and to appreciate other people being different to you and still like, I don't know, still being able to be part of each other's life and appreciating their differences. And I think people's differences is really a beautiful thing, isn't it? And I love how different everyone is within sewing and their styles. And you can be inspired by someone else that's nothing like you whatsoever. And that's a really lovely thing, I think. And like I've been on Instagram for ages. And I think for me, Instagram has been, although it's online and you're not necessarily meeting people in person, for me, it's something that I found really accessible to be part of a um sewing social media. Like I sort of got into Instagram when I had my first child, and it was a time when I felt really not great about my body. I hadn't done for my whole life, felt good about my body. It wasn't a new feeling. But like at that point is when I realized that I needed to do something about the way I felt about my body. And for me, social media played a massive part in that. I made myself take pictures of myself in clothes, whereas before I'd only ever taken photos of stuff on a hanger or on the floor because I didn't feel like I wanted to share my body. But that was like a big part of normalizing seeing myself. And I really liked seeing other people in the stuff that they'd made. And I think because I didn't have a lot of time, like I just had a child, like time is really limited, isn't it? For everyone, for lots of reasons. But at that point, for me, time was limited because I had a child and I couldn't go out and do things. And social media community was still accessible because it didn't matter if I didn't reply to a message for a week. I'd just reply when I was ready. And it didn't matter if I didn't see someone's photo straight away or, you know, I could access it in the 5 minutes that I had spare or at a point where I felt in an emotional space to communicate with other people. It didn't matter if it was in the middle of the night. So I really like being part of the Instagram community. I don't know that I have a specific community, like, do you know, but I suppose being part of Instagram and social media, I just find it really accessible. Um, and I suppose it's easier than socializing in person for whatever your reasons are for not socializing in person, whether it's an anxiety thing, or like a time management or accessibility reasons, like mobility and things like that. I suppose I find social media good because it's accessible.
Yeah. And like you say, it's having those 5 minutes to quickly catch up and you can go in and catch
Mm.
up with the people or, yeah, communicate
Yeah. And
stuff.
I've met loads of people, like some people I've met in real life now, and it's just, I don't know, you feel like you know them even though you don't you? Like some
Yeah.
people, I can't remember if I've met them in person or not because I just feel like I've seen them so frequently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a funny world bringing that, yeah, online into real life, but that's just the way of the world now as well. There are, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
people growing
like
up, they don't know. any different, and that's a very
It's
strange thing as well.
so strange. I have conflicting feelings about that, but
Mhm.
because it's good and not good. But yeah, if you, it's nice to look at the positives of it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned body positivity there, and I wanted to ask you about that. I haven't constructed the right question in my head for what I want to ask you. Uh, but you've had quite good progress because you're very vocal about talking about these things. And um, yeah, I don't know what I want to
It's a very big topic, isn't
it
it?
is, isn't it? You do you feel you've got a better relationship with sewing and making things for yourself by embracing kind of the body positivity?
So when I first started sewing, this isn't a secret. I like openly talk about it, although I find it mildly embarrassing. Maybe embarrassing is the wrong word. I find it sad that I felt that way at a point. I'm not saying I'm 100% fine with my body. I'm not. Like, I'd be lying if I said that I don't have moments where I have negative thoughts or like I don't feel great. Like it will be always like working on myself. I am fully aware will all body and mentally will always be a thing that I need to work on, like, and that's okay. Um, but like when I first started sewing, I had such a negative thought about my viewpoint of my body that I didn't actually make clothes that fit me. So I would pick a size out of the back of I'd buy a sewing pattern that I liked, I'd buy fabric that I liked, I'd pick the size that I thought I wanted to be, and then I'd make that. And then I'd put it on a mannequin and then I'd try and lose weight to fit in it, which is just really sad, isn't it? Basically, like I think it's really sad. I feel really sad. And if someone else told me that that's what they were doing, then I'd feel sad for them. And I know what I'd say to them, but then that isn't always easy to say that to yourself, is it? Unfortunately, we're very good at speaking to others in the way we should speak to ourselves. So I kind of try and live by the rule now, and this is what I say to people: if you wouldn't say it to someone else, don't think it about yourself. If you wouldn't say it to someone you love, don't think it about yourself, which is how I try and see it. So that's what I tell myself. If I wouldn't say it to someone I love, then I'm not going to think it about myself. And then I just try and move on from that thought, which sometimes is easier said than done. But you
Oh,
gotta keep
absolutely.
trying.
Especially when you're trying to say it to yourself, and that's the hardest,
Mm.
listening to yourself of, yeah, it's
It's really hard. So I always do it with my kids, and they were like, having children was a massive shift for me. I would say having children and having children was why I wanted to change the way I felt about myself, and sewing is what helped me do that. So yeah, when I first started sewing, I was constantly on a diet because I really thought that if I lost enough weight, I'd look like the images that I'd seen and I'd have the right body. That was my rhetoric. It didn't matter what size I was either. Like my weight spanned 5 stone basically quite frequently, and it didn't matter what weight I was. I always felt the same, so whatever. And so when I started sewing, I'd take pictures of stuff on the hanger or on a mannequin because it wouldn't fit me and I didn't want to try it on, or I didn't think that my body was worthy of making these nice clothes for, but I wanted to create, so I'd create stuff for what I thought I was going to look like. And then when I had my daughter, basically I didn't want to pass on those feelings and those thoughts to her. So I know that just pretending I don't think those things isn't enough. Like I need to actually change the way I feel, because people do pick up on stuff. Like they pick up on the way you carry yourself, the fact that you don't like photos of yourself, like the fact that you don't look in the mirror, all those things. Like they're subconscious probably, but they do have an impact, I believe. So I really wanted to work on it for that reason. So I basically so I was like, right, I listened to a Love to Sew episode actually. And they were talking about how your body now is worthy of nice clothes. And my husband was saying to me, look, because I'd say, oh, I don't want to make something and then it not fit me. And he was like, you sew nearly every day. So you're always making new clothes. If you make something now and it doesn't fit you in 2 months, what are you going to stop sewing in 2 months, or are you just going to make more stuff and like more fabric? And I was like, yeah, okay, good point. Good point. So I started making things that fit me, and I started posting photos of myself and taking photos of myself. And then I think the more I looked at myself, the more I became okay. And like I'm always saying stuff to my daughter. She's very like, she's 7 and she very much says what she thinks, and that's great. And she'll sometimes say to me, she said to me once, and I don't hold it against her, she's 7 and she doesn't articulate, she just says what she thinks. And she said to me once, she said, Mummy, I really like how you look today, but I don't always like how you look. And I said, that's okay. I know I'm always beautiful, but it's okay that you don't always like the way, you don't always like the way I look. That's not a problem. You always love me and I'm always beautiful. And maybe sometimes you dislike the clothes that I pick, but that's not a problem. And she's like, yeah, okay. But when you keep saying it, you keep saying it, you keep saying it. And sometimes I feel so uncomfortable as I say it, but it's almost got to the point where I just say it now. And that's that, I say, and she'll say to me, do you like how I look today? I say, you're always beautiful, but yes, I do like the dress you've chosen. Because I know that's what she's referring to. It's not really herself that she's referring to, it's the clothes. And I'll say, sometimes people look different and you don't necessarily like that style, but that's not a problem. That doesn't mean you don't like the way they look. It's different, different phrases. And so with the sewing, I do think it's helped me find a love for my body, because also I really love looking at fit of stuff and learning about fit. And I suppose the more I've learned, the more I've realized how different people's bodies are. And it's not a case of weight or bra size or whatever it is. Like you can be like 5'2" and have one set of proportions, and you can be 6'2" and have a different set of proportions, and you can have two size 18s and they can have completely different proportions. And I suppose the more I've learned about fit, the more I've learned it's not the clothes, it's not your body, it's the clothes that don't fit your body. And it's about making the clothes fit you, not you fit the clothes. And bodies are just so different, aren't they? And like, I never look at other people and think negative stuff about their body. So why do I do it about myself?
Yeah.
Like, I love different people's like faces and bodies and hair and everything about them. I like when I used to do art, I used to draw faces and hands because I just loved the difference between people so much. So you're like, why does that stop when it gets to me? I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. It's a funny society we live in to have these kind of
It's
thoughts.
really hard because there's a lot of subliminal stuff that
Mm.
we don't even know is there.
I mean, I imagine we grew up in a culture where there were magazines that had the red circle spotting all the celebrities, like, look at this
Mhm.
celebrity and this and this. And I mean,
Yeah.
we still have the body comparisons. Like this morning I saw an article about what was it, Ollie Murs, who suddenly just been doing loads of weights at the gym, and they're saying
All
it's
right.
lost his dad bod and now he's all buff and he doesn't look like, there's a lot of criticism. And it's like, well, he's looking after himself in a different way. He's doing him, like,
Yeah.
what?
I follow a lot of accounts on Instagram, not to do with sewing, but to do with like challenging that sort of mentality, which I enjoy because sometimes I look at stuff and I didn't even think it was a I'm so used to it that you don't even realize it's a problem. And I think it is an issue for men, but it's personally, I believe it's an even bigger issue for women. Like people would comment on my daughters, but they wouldn't comment on my son. Like they shouldn't comment on either, should they? Do you know? But like that is the reality. Like I have one of each children. I have a son and I have a daughter, and people will comment on Iris, but they won't comment on Ezra. And it's like they're a kid. It doesn't matter. But I mean, I could talk about
Yeah,
this for
yeah, that's
days.
the rabbit hole. God.
Whole rabbit hole.
And that's a rabbit hole of negativity, and we want to be positive here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know I'm very lucky because I've generally had a good relationship with my body in that, and it's changed a lot in the last few years. I was less active job, and I've seen the difference, and I accept it for what it is. I've had to accept making slightly bigger clothes, and yeah, it's been a real hard struggle. But yeah, there are some really good podcasts out there that just kind of talk.
Oh, great
It's
podcast.
really
And
reassuring, and just like I've just got to accept this I can't do anything about this unless I do
yeah,
exercise, eat healthy, or vice versa, whatever. This is mine, this is what I've got to work with, and I've got to accept it. I accept my big feet, fine.
I
Begrudging,
have big feet too.
it's just I yeah, I ground myself with that, and like if I do want it to change, that's on me in any way. But as long as I'm happy and healthy, that's what my mum always said. Happy and healthy.
Yeah, and our bodies do us so much, don't they? They do
Yeah.
us a huge service.
Yeah. And I'm
So,
grateful for everything it can do, even if there are days I can't do some things. So
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's move on to a small business shout out. Are there any businesses that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yes, I am going to go with Cinnamon Daisy. Do you know her?
Yes, we were talking about it on a session last night, funnily enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I've just done the poppy pattern,
Mhm.
which is her recent pattern release, and it was just super refreshing, really, really refreshing. It's quite a fitted bodice, and the fit advice that she's included, she's got a Emma. Sometimes names go from me, sorry. So she started off her pattern company with a really good size range, which is always refreshing. I tested out her first pattern, which was Willow. And her first pattern came out in a really good size range, which was really refreshing. And she's just done the poppy pattern, and the fit advice that comes with the pattern is just really nice, and it's really refreshing to see. And she's only a little business, and she's not long started out. So shout out to her.
Excellent choice. Yeah, I was scrolling through them all yesterday after someone mentioned it, and yeah,
Yeah, really refreshing to see. So,
really
and
nice,
she's really nice.
really nice designer, kind of
Yeah.
aesthetic as well with her.
Oh, yeah. And we met once, and she's just as lovely in person.
Always nice to hear. Any other businesses? Or
Oh, I was going to say Yvette from Stash Hub, which I know you've had on already. But again, she's really lovely. She's a really big part of the sewing community, and I really love Stash Hub. I was part of the testing team for that as well. And then I only actually I didn't do it for ages because I felt too overwhelmed by doing it. I have a good size
Mhm.
stash. But I signed up and I've put all my fabric on there now. And I just think she's very much a community person. She's very nice. She does lots of different meetups. And yeah, and she's ginger. Shout out to my fellow gingers.
My husband's like a strawberry blonde kind of
Is
ginger.
he?
Yeah, and when I've tried to dye my hair, I try to go for a gingery tone with henna. I haven't done it in a while because we did our bathroom and I'm not allowed to make it messy. So
Yeah, I've heard it stains bad. I call it the Red Alliance. I can't help it. I mean, I'm not about looks, but a little shout out to the Red Alliance. We all got bullied when we were younger, and we're allowed to now feel proud of it.
that's another community in itself. So,
Yeah. Do you know the amount of redheads I've met through sewing? I did the secret sewing swap at Christmas, and I'm not kidding. The first two or three people that had me as they were the giftee for me were all redheads. Like, what are the chances?
well, great shout outs. And it's not the first one Yvette's had, so she'll be happy with that one. We're going to go to our quick fire round. Feel free to elaborate on your answers, but you don't have to. Woven or knit?
Woven. I never sew with knit, really.
Okay. Blue or green?
Green. Green's my fave.
I mean, looking at your backdrop,
I also have I painted my house green, so the outside is also green.
amazing. And did your husband come home one day and it's just suddenly a greenhouse?
He helped me paint it. It was a real task and never again.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had our own scaffolding. It was like I say, I'll give anything a try.
uh, plain or patterned?
Patterned.
Cat or dog?
Cat.
Early bird or night owl?
Ooh. Since having the kids early bird, I don't know if that's a choice, but
It's what's happened.
it's life.
Did you say you were a night owl pre-kids?
I go through phases where I'm so like obsessively focused on stuff, I just don't really sleep. So I will stay up really late and get up really early. But my kids get up at 5. So now I am generally wanting to stay up late, but know that when that 5 a.m. comes around, it will not be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Knitting or crochet?
Knitting.
Train or aeroplane?
Train. I mean, I love going places on an aeroplane, but I'm gonna say that my anxious brain would sooner get on a train than an aeroplane.
Spots or stripes?
Stripes.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. Only if it's Yorkshire.
Uh, perfect finish or life's too short?
Oh, life's too short.
Cake or biscuits?
I don't think I can choose. I would have both.
Both. Okay, yeah. We'll do get around to something. Read a book or watch TV?
I'm gonna say TV because I love books, but I knit and watch TV, and then it's just double productivity. So
Yeah, it's a perfect combo, really.
yeah, I cut. Yeah.
Zips or buttons?
Buttons.
Text message or a phone call?
Voice note.
Yeah, mhm.
Text. I feel like it's such a millennial thing, but if someone rings me, I assume it's a mistake and I don't answer.
Mhm. Mm. Sewing machine or hand sewing?
Sewing machine.
Cream first or jam first?
On a scone.
Yeah,
Jam then cream.
okay.
Is
Sure.
that controversial?
Yes. Um, fine.
I can't get the jam on top of cream though. The cream just freaking goes everywhere. I feel like you can spread the jam and then dollop the cream.
See, I think it's easier to do it the other way around. You spread cream like it's butter, and then you can just do a spoon dollop of jam and then back at the
Interesting.
spoon. But that's fine. But you're not, I mean, you're not right, but you're not alone. Uh, I
Do you
should
say
stop asking
scone or scone?
scone.
I say scone too.
I think I'm scone.
Mm.
I can't. I have to have a conversation later and drop it in, and it's hard when you put like, how do you say it? Can't remember.
I've never said scone apart from when I say, do you say scone or scone?
And one more, which is a new one. Do you like to print at home or do AO printing?
Ah, AO. If I feel like treating myself, I prefer AO because I do like to trace my patterns. And if you have to print and stick and trace, it's just a lot.
But again, a good TV thing to do, I found the cutting.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they just don't fold up as well, do they?
you don't know. You've got like an envelope or however you store it, and it just feels bulkier than if you do AO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of our quick fire round. That's
Thanks.
well. It's been lovely chatting to you today. Thanks for joining us and sharing all sorts. It's lovely to get to know you. And
You too.
yeah, go and follow Vicky on Instagram. Lots of great stuff over there.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Vicky.
Bye.